proven. And Azarenka came through the qualies. So she is playing well enough to make the main draw. I would give my life for crunchy Cheetos. I have no idea what those are, but they sound delicious. Also, if you gave your life for them, then you wouldn't be able to eat them. So don't do that. Be careful. Stay safe. All right. Raducanu back on serve. We got Swiatek taking on Azarenka as well. So this will be interesting to see how things go. All right, 3-2 back on serve, Raducanu. All right. Back on serve, 20 minutes in, really windy in Eastbourne. Bad Homburg, the weather looks kind of nice, so that's good. Bublik withdrew from Eastbourne. Yeah, no surprise there. Azarenka was great when she was younger. She beat Serena 4 times. Yeah. I mean, she's still being great. She made a Grand Slam final not that long ago. About 4 or 5 years ago, she was in the Grand Slam finals. Anyways, 15 love, Raducanu. She tries to level the match up again. Eala is gonna take on Ostapenko or Cartel, who are playing. Who are playing like in the next 30 minutes. 30 love, or should be playing pretty soon. All right, Raducanu 30 love. As she serves a fault, second serve. Serve into the backhand of Lee. Lee puts it away, 30-15. All right, 30-15. There's Azarenka and Swiatek walking out on court. As Lee hits a return off the tape for a winner, 30-all. Chance for Lee to get that break again. All right, 40-30, Raducanu. As Lee hits it out in the return, and Raducanu levels 3-all in this first set. All right, 3-3. Kind of 2-time Grand Slam champion and got a wild card? Who are you talking about? You talking about Azarenka? I mean, probably. But she didn't. Azarenka's dropped to like number 100 in the world or something, I think, as well. Which is kind of crazy. she is sort of like over, she what, 35, 36? But you think that she would deserve, yeah, you think if they're going to give anyone wild cards, they should be given out to Azarenka. She's, the fact she's still playing at this stage is awesome. Forehand goes long by Lee, and it's 15-all. But again, remember all the British tournaments, the wild cards go to the British players. It doesn't matter who is playing. I mean, every wild card at this event went to a Brit. Bad Homburg is also not in the UK. So I don't know why. Osaka, Sigemund. So Sigemund and Maria got them because of obvious reasons. Sakkari and Osaka got them. So yeah, they could have given... Bad Homburg is so stacked that Azarenka probably could have got one if it wasn't so stacked. But Azarenka came to the qualies. She beat McNally and Kudermetova. So 2 good wins. Both Kudermetova and Kruger got lucky loser picks to come back in. So they got second chances as a lucky loser. By the way, winner of this match with Swiatek goes and takes on either Alexandrova or Sakkari. So it doesn't get any easier for Swiatek. As Raducanu hits a passing shot wide, and it's 30-all. Osaka's more worthy of a wild card than Azarenka at this point, to be honest. Or to be fair, I mean, Osaka's done more lately. I think that's probably the difference, right? Is that she's been more competitive lately, so maybe that's why they felt the need to give her one. Then again, maybe Azarenka said, no, I want to play qualies. Maybe they asked her, and she said, no, I'm going to play the qualifiers. Like, I want to get some matches under my belt. I don't want to lose in the first round, so no, give me matches. So maybe she nominated to play qualies. That happens too. Players sometimes turn away wild cards for extra matches. Anyways, 40-30. Lee to get back in front. As Raducanu hits a return winner. And we get to deuce. Being in Australia, follow this sport is so draining when it comes to time zones. I respect you. Oh, I yawned because of that. Thank you. Thank you for it is. I was thinking about that today. I'm like, geez, tennis is like just tennis fans in general. It's so like, is it the hardest sport to follow? Like, is it like every other sport you have like a set, like you play maybe once or twice a week. Maybe you play every other day, but you still play at the same time most of the time. Tennis is just like, I think there's no sport I don't think like tennis that I'm thinking like golf, not really, because golf is on like a half-week schedule, right? Every Thursday to Sunday. And I'm sure there's mostly American events or mostly European, so they don't usually, it's not like 1 week we're here, 1 week we're over in the middle of somewhere else. Anyways, Raducanu puts up another lob, but it goes wide, and it's 4-3 Lee. Yeah, I think tennis fans have it the hardest. I think the hardest part for tennis fans is that it's every day. I don't think it's so much the time zones because, for the Europeans, it's been a great couple of months, right? You've been watching the same hours, but it's just the every day. Like, it's every day. There's no days off, You watch a final on Sunday, and then it's first round Monday, straight back into it, right? There's no breaks. Tennis is a grind if you really think about it. Oh, it is. As a fan and as obviously the players, but for fans too, I mean, it's definitely a commitment. All right, Azarenka won the toss, elected to serve. She will serve. Azarenka's ditched the headband, it seems. She used to wear the headband. She's not wearing the headband. Tennis is definitely hard to follow here in the States, considering most matches are played every day in the early morning. Yeah, for sure. For sure. All right. Azarenka to serve first against Swiatek. Winner of Swiatek versus Azarenka will take on the winner of Alexandrova taking on Sakkari. They will play later. Also, the winner of this Raducanu Lee match will take on Maya Joint, who beat Jabeur in the first round. Raducanu serving 4-3. 4-3 Lee. As Raducanu serves the fault, second serve. As that goes in the net from Lee on the return. It's 15 love. 15 love. Serve out wide from it. Raducanu's an ace. 30 love. Baseball has a grueling schedule, 162 games and moving around the country every 3 to 4 days. Yeah, true. Yeah, that's fair enough. Hey, TJ, thank you for the 19 months. Appreciate it. As we just served down the tee from Raducanu as a fault, second serve. All right, serve again. What's Australia's take on my joint? It's not like Dash's move. What do you mean? 40 love Raducanu. All right. Azarenka serving. Who you got, chat? I'm going to go Swiatek in 3. I reckon she's going to have a tough battle, though, because Azarenka is no joke. 30 love. This isn't relevant, but why did Boison have to go to Wimbledon qualies? Wimbledon okay. Because we get asked this all the time. Why don't players get wildcard at Wimbledon? If you're not British, you're not getting a wildcard is pretty much the standard for Wimbledon. If you're not British, you have to be either a previous champion or like undeniable worthy of a wild card. Like it would be crazy for Wimbledon to turn their back. But Wimbledon give the locals the wild cards. They only give on the men's side. Stan Wawrinka didn't get a wild card. I don't think he played any grass anyway. But Stan didn't get a look, and everybody who got a wild card at Wimbledon was on the men's side is British. On the women's side, I think only Kvitova, and she won it twice. So you have to win Wimbledon twice to maybe get one. Andreescu didn't get one. She's playing qualies right now. Obviously Boison didn't get one, who had a great week at Roland Garros, or a great 2 weeks at Roland Garros. Boison is 65 in the world. Why did she need one? Because of the entry list. Remember the entry list, she missed the cutoff. So the entry list comes out 6 weeks before Wimbledon starts. So 6 weeks ago was before the French Open. So her ranking froze, or was the entry list came out in, let's just say, I don't know, what's 6 weeks from today? Let's say it was on the 19th of May, the entry list came out for Wimbledon, and she was, at that point, 300 in the world, right? Yeah, May 13th, something like that. It came out during Rome. So that's why. So even though her ranking was high after the French Open, the entry list came out before the French Open. So that's why. That's why she didn't get automatic entry. Because her ranking when the entry list came out, that's why Vondi doesn't have to play qualies, because Vondi, one, has a protected ranking, but also 6 weeks ago, she was in the top 100. So that's why Vondi doesn't have to play qualies. And that's why Boison did. But again, I think Vondi also has a protected ranking, so that helps. That means that she won't have to play qualies anyway because she has that protected ranking. But I can't double check because nothing's working. But I think Vondi Vondi doesn't have a protected ranking. So that's a great example. So Vondrousova 6 weeks ago was in the top 100. So on the entry list, she made the cut. But then, as of 2 weeks ago, she was outside the top, or a week ago, she was outside the top 100, right? So that's a good example. So Boison 6 weeks ago didn't make the cut, and Vondrousova did. Now, if Vondi hadn't have won Berlin, then we would have all been asking, why is this, why is that? But because she won Berlin, nobody's really asking the question, why did Vondi get in and Boison not? Because Vondi's like, well, of course Vondi got in. And it was 15 love. Swiatek trying to get on the board. 5-4, by the way. This is complex even for me, and I've followed tennis for 2 decades. It's entry list cutoffs are so... I feel like they got to shorten it, especially when it comes to French Open Wimbledon. I feel like they got to do it like 3 weeks in advance. Like once the French Open's over, that's when the entry list for Wimbledon should come out. Or at least that's when the ranking should count, because Wimbledon and French Open so quick, so close, that the players that do well at Roland Garros, Boison included, don't get to play Wimbledon unless they, somehow get a wild card. I feel like they need to make like a 3-week rule for that, just because they're so close together. Whereas I think after Wimbledon, the entry list for the US Open comes out like the week after Wimbledon, or during Wimbledon. I think during Wimbledon. 2, 3, 4, 5. I think during the finals of Wimbledon, the second week of Wimbledon, the entry list for the US Open comes out. Or maybe it might be the next week. It's pretty close, but yeah. Entry list is a weird concept. 30-15, but hopefully that made sense. It's confusing, but we try. All right. Swiatek trying to level. Current deadline's too long and almost unfair for players who perform well at the French. Yeah. 40-15. Swiatek to get on the board as Raducanu losing the first point here. Love 15. Lee was up 3-love to start this match if you're just joining us. Raducanu didn't hit a bad volley, but Lee was too good on the pass. And Swiatek gets a forehand slice. Backhand from Azarenka. Volley winner by Swiatek, and it's 1-1 in the first. But yeah, entry list deadlines and entry list cutoffs is a very strange concept. But I even didn't know what. I only just probably the last couple of years figured out. Oh, this is why and this is how, and all that stuff. It's a little bit hard to get your head around. 15-0. But see, with the other Grand Slams, there's a rule for wild cards where the US Open every year will award an Australian and a French wild card. The French will always have a spot for one Australian and one US wild card, and then the Australian Open have a French wild card and an American wild card amongst all the others. So they award them to those slams. I don't know why Wimbledon don't do that. I guess because then they don't want to give away 3 wild cards to non-British players when, let's be honest, the UK haven't been great at tennis consistently for the last 100 years, right? I mean, they got Murray. Now you got Raducanu and Draper. But before Murray, you had Henman, Rosetsky. Those were the only guys that were kind of holding it up, right? So you had to award wildcards to other players and they probably were like, well, we don't want to give away wildcards because we already don't have that many players as it is. Whereas America was thriving. They didn't need wildcards. They didn't need handouts. Australia's been good at tennis. We've had enough players over the decades. France has had players enough representing. They don't want to have 3 players representing the UK in the UK when they could have 8 or 16 if they add the women's as well, right? So I guess it's probably just that might be the reason, But I wouldn't mind if if they jumped in with the UK and with France and stuff, and they handed out a wild card to France, because then Boison would have got one. Give one to America, whoever gets that one, and then Australia. But they obviously do their own thing. 40-30. But the other 3 slams they've got like a rule. Like they award, they go, okay, here, we'll give you a wild card, and you can pick your players, whoever you want. So if we're playing the Australian Open right now, Boison would have got a wild card. All right, 40-30. It's just Wimbledon do it different. Backhand rally as Lee hits it to the slice of Raducanu. Lee with the backhand into the backhand of Raducanu as Lee again to the forehand of Raducanu, into the forehand of Lee on the stretch. Raducanu down the middle as Lee backhand again to the forehand of Raducanu, into the backhand of Lee. Hits a slice. Raducanu slice forehand. Goes out, and we get to deuce as Swiatek tries to break here. 30-all. Lee's trying to take this set. Azarenka double faults. 30-40. Swiatek. A chance to take the break. You guys make me feel so old. As a student, I camped in the middle of Saturday. Wimbledon queue. The first time in 1992. See, I didn't camp out for Wimbledon, but I lined up in the queue at like 6 a.m. or 5 a.m. and sat there for 6 hours before they opened. But I didn't camp overnight. As that goes out by Lee, and it's advantage Raducanu. 30-40. As Azarenka serves a fault. 30-40 Swiatek. I feel like it's kind of a privileged thing with Wimbledon on how they give wildcards. Yeah, I mean, look, it maybe again, and I have no problem with them giving wildcards to the players that from like hometown heroes, right? I get why I get it, especially because, like I said, probably over the last on the men and women's side in the last 100 years, out of all the slams, Wimbledon has had the least amount of players do well, right? I'm sure if we added it up, we could probably say that America's done the best. As we have drop shot from Lee and we get to deuce. America's definitely done the best out of, not just out of the US Open, but all the slams, right? You would say that France and Australia probably equal second, like success rates at home. And then in the UK, besides Murray, like Norrie did well once and Raducanu's done okay, but like over the last like 50 years, how many British players have made it to the second week of Wimbledon? I'd say hardly any compared to the other slams. Because even back in the 80s, you had like, in the 90s, you had, players like Cash, you had for Australia. You had Cash, you had Rafter, you had Leighton, you had Barty recently, De Minaur now, right? There's been players. For France, you've had a lot of the ladies sort of, representing at the Roland Garros, and also on the men's side, you had like Songa and Monfils and Gasquet, and you've had a lot. They had a lot of success. Whereas on the UK, again, before Murray came along, it was Tim Henman, and none on the ladies' side. I mean, who was before Raducanu? Like Heather Watson was doing some stuff early on. Joe Conta, kind of jumped up for a couple of years. But other than that, I mean, you got to go way back to like, I don't even know, like back in the 70s, right? When there was more British success. All right, 4 now from Lee. Goes long, and it's 5-all. Raducanu holds. Yeah, Tomljanovic, that's another one, yeah. Yeah, Tomljanovic, but that's not, I'm talking about the Australian Open, not Wimbledon. I'm saying hometown heroes at their hometown. I'm talking about locals at home. Tomljanovic in Australia, I don't think has made the quarterfinals yet. Are you Australian? Yes. All right, so about why the forehand of Raducanu. Backhand from Lee. Into the backhand of Raducanu is Lee backhand. Into the backhand of Raducanu. Again, the backhand of Lee. Raducanu goes in the forehand of Lee. And Raducanu slips down. One of those awkward slips where you kind of twist your leg and sit down on your leg. She's okay though. She just kind of took a second to get back up. 15 love. Yeah, just kind of lost her footing. Luckily, didn't twist her leg or anything. She kind of just fell forward. All right, 15 love, sorry, as Lee hits a forehand into the forehand of Raducanu, and Raducanu in the net, 30 love. Consummated semi-final Wimbledon? Yeah. As the return goes into the forehand of Lee. Backhand of Raducanu. Lee with the volley. Raducanu with a forehand lob. Lee with a smash. Good put away. 40 love. As Azarenka held, by the way, gets a 2-1, but Swiatek serves an ace out wide. 15-all. What do you think is the reason behind British players not having success at Wimbledon? Good question. I think the main thing, and I know people are going to probably say, it's the pressure that the media put on the players. Okay. I think it's more the fact that there's just not that many players. I mean, how many British players have there been? There hasn't been many. And why is that? I think that's more of a thing rather than it being, I think the representation at Wimbledon for the UK is limited, and I think, where are the British players? Isn't there enough British players? Where are they coming from? Why are they not there? That's probably the answer in the question, right? Just the lack of top talent, and is that because it's much, and this is the same that happens in Australia. The question of okay, when I turn 14, do I play tennis or do I play another sport? And most people in Australia these days go to the team sports. It's very rare that people want to play an individual sport where they have no friends, and it's way harder to become successful. Whereas it's much easier, let's say in the UK, it'd be probably better if you have to choose between football and tennis. Yeah, if you love tennis, you're going to pick it, right? But you could probably, I don't know if the success rate's higher, but there's more opportunity, I would say, to become at least a semi-professional footballer at home than traveling the world and trying to become a tennis player. If you had to make that choice, right? If you were like, I like both equally, what do I have a better chance at doing? Tennis is a very lonely sport as well. Azarenka breaks, by the way, 3-1. So I don't know. Maybe it's that. Maybe once they get to a certain age, people are picking other sports or whatever. So I don't know. It needs a bit more of a deeper investigation. But then again, America have options, but people play tennis still. They got a lot of people playing tennis still. So maybe maybe there's no excuse. Anyways, Raducanu, 30 love. Raducanu trying to get to this tie break. Also Azarenka 3-1 with the break already. 30 love. The backhand return goes in by Lee, I think. No, it's just wide. 40 love. On that point, tennis isn't cool in the UK, so you are right. More people playing other sports. Well, see, the thing is, it goes to when you're 13, 14 years old, you're gonna do what your friends want to do. You want to hang out with your friends, right? So if your friends are playing football and you're playing tennis, you're not going to see them as much. So you're probably going to do more. I know as kids, me and my brother played a lot of sports, but we would definitely gravitate towards the sports where we knew people or had friends, right? And or our friends were playing. I was lucky that the people I was friends with when I started playing tennis were playing tennis too, so it was fun. But then, yeah, I mean, I knew a lot of people that disappeared from tennis because they went to go play another sport because maybe they had more friends in that sport, and they went to go do that or whatever, So you're going to do at that age, you're going to do what your friends do. If your friends are playing football, you're probably going to go play football because you want to hang out with them. All right, Raducanu gets to the tie break, 6-6. Six all. As Azarenka tries to go to 4-1 here. Swiatek returns the backhand of Azarenka. Backhand from Swiatek. Into the backhand of Azarenka. Swiatek backhand goes wide. 40-15. Man, Swiatek is struggling. Then again, she does have a slow start. Was one time where she was down 4-1 against Azarenka once. Came back to win. All right. 3-love, I think it was. Wasn't it 4-love? 3-love? Lee hits a winner. And it's 1-love Lee. 40-15. Azarenka serving to take a 4-1 lead. I think it was 3-love. Yeah, double break. Azarenka holds, and she goes to 4-1 in the first. All right. Raducanu serving. 1-love to Lee. Raducanu serves into the backhand of Lee. Return goes to front of Raducanu. Lee, forehand winner. 2-love Lee. Two love to Lee. All right. 2-1. Raducanu gets the point. It's on the board. 2-1 Lee. As Lee serves down the tee, Raducanu slices it back. It goes long, and it's 3-1 Lee. Cam loves Filipinas. That's why he doesn't miss a Raducanu and Eala match. Raducanu is not Filipino. She's not a Filipina, so that doesn't make any sense, brother. She's Chinese. 3-1. Or her mum's from China. Yep, bro, get your facts straight. 4-1 from Raducanu. Into the forehand of Lee. 4-1 from Raducanu. Again, the forehand of Lee. Into the back of Raducanu on the stretch, but Lee hits a winner. 4-1. Oh, sorry, Lee hit it out. My bad. 3-2. Also, if you're going by that, why do we watch Swiatek all the time then? Riddle me that. Is it because she's from the Philippines somehow? Why do we always watch Swiatek? That's, I mean... Riddle me this. Smart ass. 3-2. You think you got all the answers? Why do we watch Swiatek all the time? She's number 8 in the world. It's not like she's number 1 anymore. 3-2 Lee. She's back on serve, Raducanu. As the return goes in the net, it's 3-all. They change ends. Will Emma and Alcaraz play Wimbledon mixed doubles? I don't think so. 3-3. 3-all. As they change ends. All right, 3-all. Raducanu serves. Raducanu with the serve. It's too strong. 4-3 Raducanu. Also 40 loves Swiatek to Get the second game. Swiatek with a serve. Oh, Swiatek made the semi-finals in Bad Homburg 2 years ago. She serves an ace down the tee. Swiatek on the board, 2-4. Azarenka with the break. We're not going to cover Ostapenko later, but we will cover her tomorrow if she plays Eala. As that goes in the net on the first serve from Lee. Second serve. Second serve. Into the backhand of Raducanu. Backhand now from Lee, and then Raducanu with a forehand winner. And it's 5-3 Raducanu. She gets the mini break. 5-3. As Lee serves again. Seven to the back of Raducanu. Return goes into the front of Lee. Raducanu slice in the net. 5-4 Raducanu. All right. 5-4 Raducanu. She's serving for the set. Also, Swiatek trying to break back against Azarenka. All right, 5-4 Raducanu. Now she serves. Into the backhand of Lee. Return goes to the backhand of Raducanu. Lee with a forehand down the line. Raducanu's there with a slice. Lee comes in with a volley and puts it away. We're back on serve. 5-5. 5-all. 5-5. Someone's getting a set point. Five. Raducanu to serve. 5-5. Serving to the backhand of Lee. Return goes to the backhand of Raducanu. Lee with the forehand of the stretch. Raducanu goes cross court. Lee with a volley. Raducanu gets over the slice. Lee with a backhand pass. Is too good. And Lee gets a set point. 6-5 on her serve. Also, love 40 Swiatek to get back on serve. All right. Lee with a set point. Swiatek with a chance to break back. It's all happening. All right. Lee serves. A fault. Second serve. Serve out wide. The backhand of Raducanu. Return goes to front of Lee. And Lee puts it away. First set goes to Lee. 7-6. 7-6 Lee. Swiatek with love 40. And Swiatek returns to the front of Azarenka. Azarenka shanks it. It goes out. We're back on serve. Swiatek for 3. Back on serve. What else going on? Stremska's beating Lynette again. God, what a terrible draw for Lynette. All right. We are back on serve. Raducanu lost again. She just lost the first set, so she hasn't lost yet. The match is not over, but she did lose the first set. That is correct. All right. Swiatek gets the break back. Cool. Palini is not looking good for the grass this time. What do you mean? She won the first round. All right. Raducanu's going to serve first in the second. And Swiatek is serving to level this first set after being down 4-1. Swiatek serves. A fault. Second serve. I love 15, by the way. League first point of the second. Thoughts on Vondrusa? We love Vondi. We love Vondi. So goes the forehand of Lee. Forehand from Raducanu into the backhand of Lee. Lee in the net, 15-all. Ooh. All right. 15-all as Raducanu shanks it. And it's 15-30. Chance for Lee to break first game of the second. Swiatek gets to 40 love. Guazol lost first round of qualies as the first seed. Yeah, Chad, I'm going to say something that might not be very nice. 30 love. As we get a return now going in there from Azarenka, 40 love. And I don't know the answer, so I'm just saying it out loud. Does that justify Wimbledon not giving her a wild card because she lost first round of the qualies? I know it's harsh. She deserved a wild card. Don't get me wrong. What she did at Roland Garros was worthy of a wild card. But if she lost first round qualies as the number one seed, would she have done any better in the first round of Wimbledon? And would the wild card have been used wisely? Or would it have been wasted? I'm just asking. Does it justify Wimbledon not giving a wild card to be like, well, she wouldn't have done anything in the main draw if she come, you know what I'm saying? She deserved it, though. Don't get me wrong. She deserved one. As Lee hits a drop shot and gets a break. Well, no. But does it, I mean, a Wimbledon sitting back going, well, we gave wild cards. If we gave her a wild card, who's to say she wasn't going to lose on day one on court 13? And nobody cared, right? I think if she went on a run, like let's say Boison went on a run and won the qualies and made it to the third round, everyone would have been like, what the hell? Why didn't you give her a wild card? Why didn't you make her work so hard? And maybe if she like was cramping in the third round, where she was playing really well and then started cramping, I think everyone would be like, how could you do this to her? Why'd you make her play qualies? But because she lost first round, I think Wimbledon they're probably thinking, we made the right choice. We chose to give wild cards to other players, and look what happened. She lost in the first round. I mean, you know, would she have done any better in the first round of the actual tournament? Who knows? But I don't know. I'm just thinking. I think she deserved one though. I'm still on Team Boison getting a wild card, but I mean, Wimbledon maybe Wimbledon were right, to not give a wild card to somebody and maybe try giving. And look, the British players could lose first round, but at least they've given the British players a chance, I guess, and it doesn't feel like a wasted chance, I guess. I don't know. I know it sounds harsh, but I'm just asking, chat. This is the conversations we have. I know Brazil deserved it. I'm not saying she didn't deserve it. I'm just saying, do you think Wimbledon is sitting back thinking she lost? So why would we have given her a wild card? She didn't win. She wouldn't have done anything anyway. I don't know. Just asking. 15-all, by the way. Lee's got a set and a break. As Lee hits it out, 15-30, chance for Raducanu to break straight back. Could she still get a lucky loser? No. Lucky losers go to the players that lose in the final round of qualies. So she lost first round of qualies. Very, very, very unlikely. A lot of players have to withdraw for her to get a wild card. A lucky loser. All right, 30-15. Azarenka to try and stay in front, but she double faults. 30-all. They won't give away Kvitova's wild card. She's a two-time champion. She they ain't going to give her, and plus it's her last Wimbledon, so there's no way they're not going to give her they're going to keep her a wild card. Because someone will get into the US Open, don't worry. Yeah, she won't need a wild card now, but yeah. Anyways, Raducanu breaks back. 1-all in the second. Also, Azarenka Swiatek. 4-all. Swiatek a chance to break back, though. 30-40. 30-40. Swiatek. To get back the break. There's a bit of fault second serve from Azarenka. Second serve Azarenka. Into the back of Swiatek. Good return to the back of Azarenka. Azarenka hits it out though. Alright, Swiatek breaks 5-4. Alright. From 4-1 down to 5-4 up, Swiatek's going to serve for the set. And Raducanu's back on serve, 1-all. Love 15 here for Lee. All right, love 30. Chance for Lee to get the break again. Love 30. Love 30. As Raducanu serves a fault, second serve. Serve to the forehand of Lee. Backhand out from Raducanu into the backhand of Lee. Sliced into the backhand of Raducanu. It's a drop shot, but Lee's got there with a forehand. Raducanu passing shot is a winner. 15-30. 15-30. Is the entry list set yesterday? For what? For Wimbledon? No, entry list was set 6 weeks ago. Raducanu 15-30. A chance to get back in the lead for Lee. As Lee back in return. Raducanu slicing the net. It's 15-40. Lee for the break in the second. Also, Azarenka wins the first point, love 15. What's your favorite shot in tennis? To watch or to play? To watch, I don't know, a tweener around the net. All right, forehand rally. Backhand goes in from Lee. No, it goes wide by Lee. 30-40, one saved. (30-40). Still a break point here for Lee to get the break in the second. So Swiatek down love 30. As Raducanu serves the forehand of Lee. Return goes to the back of Raducanu. Off the tape and in. Lee gets there. No, she doesn't. Deuce. Raducanu got a little lucky. So love 30 Azarenka trying to get the break straight back. Keep this first set alive. Raducanu serves again. And Raducanu serves a fault, second serve. One second chat. All right. 15-40. Azarenka a chance to break back. She hits a forehand to the backhand of Swiatek. Slice from Azarenka. Into the forehand of Swiatek. Azarenka backhand. To the backhand of Swiatek. Into the backhand of Azarenka. Swiatek with a forehand cross. Azarenka goes again to the forehand of Swiatek. Azarenka with the stretch. And Swiatek hits a winner down the line. 30-40. One saved. 30-40. Also advantage Raducanu. As the return goes to the forward of Raducanu. Backhand from Lee. Into the forward of Raducanu. Lee with the slice. Into the forward of Raducanu. Again the backhand of Lee. As Raducanu backhand again to the backhand of Lee. Raducanu slices it back. Lee goes down the line. As Raducanu forehand again to the slice of Lee on the stretch. Raducanu with the slice. Goes into the forward of Lee. Into the forward of Raducanu. Lee forehand to the backhand of Raducanu. Again the forehand of Lee. As Raducanu slice forehand on the stretch. Lee comes to the net with a drop shot, but it's wide. Good rally. 2-1. Raducanu takes the lead. All right, 30-40. Still break point here for Azarenka. To get back on serve, what do you think highest WTA ranking is achieved for Raducanu realistically? I think she can make top 20. I mean, she's nearly in top 30, so why couldn't she make top 20? I think top 20 would not be weird. Anyways, backhand rally. Swiatek backhand into the forehand of Azarenka. Backhand of Swiatek down the line. That's a winner. And Swiatek takes it to deuce. All right, we get to deuce. The problem, though, with Raducanu's ranking is that when we get to Wimbledon, she's going to drop a lot of points unless she makes the fourth round. So her ranking could drop before it can go up again. So she's going to lose 250 points or 240 points at Wimbledon, which will drop her down to around the 50 mark. So that's a little bit of a problem. So she will go backwards before she goes forwards, unless she can replicate what she did last year, making the fourth round. Swiatek hits it to the slice. Back into Azarenka. Lob goes up by Swiatek. Azarenka smashes it long. And it's advantage Swiatek with a set point to take the first set. But yeah, Raducanu has a fourth round to defend, which means she's going to have those, like that, all those points I just mentioned. All right, Swiatek serving to take the first set. Advantage Swiatek. Advantage Swiatek. Serve. Into the forehand of Azarenka. Return into the forehand of Swiatek. Forehand of Azarenka goes wide. Azarenka was up 4-1. Swiatek, 6-4. 5 games in a row. Oh, cool. Thank you. I'll check my my socials. Hang on. All right. Lee serving. 15 love. All right, 15 love. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Gran, for that one. All right, 15 all. By the way, Chet, does anyone have a 3D printer? Asking for a friend. Down. Down you go. Anybody have a 3D printer? And what's a good brand? All right, 6-4, first set. Goes to Swiatek. And are they good? Are 3D printers even good? All right, 30-15. As we're to serve out wide the backhand of Raducanu. Backhand from Lee. And to the forehand of Raducanu, who overhits it. 40-15. As Lee looks to level the second. (40-15). As Lee hits a winner down the line, 2-0. Lee holds in the second. And Azarenka serving first in the second against Swiatek. I have one worth $2,500. Contra, is it worth having? Aligu Saturn 3D printer is a good brand. Okay. Now I just want to, I don't know. I feel like I have a 3D printer business. Just get Bamboo Labs printer. They're great, but is that your is that your brand? I work for a 3D printing company. Just get the one that I sell. Wants to print miniatures of his favorite players? No, I just think learning how to use a 3D printer would be cool. I've seen like artists online use them and they look really sick. And I had them, like I haven't worked with them, but I've seen them for model making and stuff in architecture. So Azarenka, by the way, she's just stretching out her leg. Just a little bit of soreness there. Love 30 Swiatek, chance to break. Libraries have them? Really? Libraries have 3D printers? That's crazy. 3D printed objects often fall apart. I guess it just depends on what you make, right? I was thinking of just making like 3D models and stuff of stuff. I just think it'd be cool. $15. Azarenka, by the way, has definitely hurt her leg here. She is feeling some discomfort in the left leg, for sure. I don't know what part of the leg, but she's definitely in pain. My 3D printer is a kit I built part by part. Got part shipped from the UK like 15 years ago when they were rarely talked about. All right, okay. Swiatek gets a wide 15-30. Also 15-30 for Lee to break in the second. Are you going to 3D print Carlos winning French Open shirt? Yeah, that's what... I need a 3D printer to get that Alcaraz shirt. 15-30. They good at designs your own file, then printing other designs. Yeah. I want to learn how to do all my own stuff. I already know how to use most of those programs. Anyways, volley goes in from Raducanu. It's 30-all. Like, I'm very familiar with using software for designing and stuff. All right, 30-all. So 15-40. Swiatek a chance to break here in the second. Azarenka still shaking out her leg. 15-40. Azarenka's hurt her leg. "3D print Adidas Climacool shoes." I have one. Wait, you have a shoe or you printed one? All right. 30-40, still a break point here for Swiatek, but Azarenka saves one with an inside-out backhand winner. Also, Lee's got a break point, 30-40. 30-40 on both courts. You have to learn CAD programs. You probably don't know that. Such as what? Like 3ds Max or Blender or... I know a lot of CAD programs. It's what happens when you do an architecture degree. You learn shit. 30-40. As we return, I know Revit as well. As that goes wide by Swiatek and we get the deuce. Also Lee unable to break. We get the deuce on that court as well. All right. Backhand Azarenka is a winner. Advantage Azarenka in the first game of the second. All right. Advantage Raducanu, by the way, to stay in front. I bought it. If you like 3D print stuff, it's great. Okay. I just got to figure out which program I need to use. I know how to use Blender, though, so maybe I'll use Blender. All right. Lee, with a bounce smash, puts it away. And it's back to deuce. Azarenka holds, by the way. 1-love in the second. Oh, you okay? You all right? All right. We get to deuce. Alcaraz is in the house. I can't see Alcaraz anywhere. All right, advantage Raducanu. Advantage Raducanu. As Raducanu serves. Fault, second serve. Has Raducanu's service action changed? Not that I can tell. Should it have changed? As a backhand return from Lee. That goes out. Raducanu 3-2 in the second. All right. All right. Swiatek, 30 love. As the return goes in from Azarenka to the forehand. Swiatek. Swiatek gets a winner, 40 love. Raducanu, by the way, looks like she's really struggling. I don't know what's going on. But somebody, I think a trainer's coming out for Raducanu. All right, 40 love, Swiatek. Swiatek with the forehand into the forehand of Azarenka. Forehand from Swiatek. Again, the forehand of Azarenka into the forehand of Swiatek. Azarenka into the backhand of Swiatek. Slice Azarenka. Again, into the backhand of Swiatek hits it past. Oh, no, she hits it wide. She went cross court and it went out. 40-15. All right, 40-15. Swiatek gets a drop, hits a forehand slice, and it's too good. She levels 1-1 in the second. One all in the second. All right, Lee serving. 15 all. And Raducanu hits a return in the net, 30-15. 30-15. But we still don't have... Ostapenko still hasn't started her match. I don't know what's going on with that. Cartel, Ostapenko, are they supposed to play after this match, or when are they supposed to play? Uh, 30-old Lee in a little trouble. Ostapenko, Cartel are after Borges. Okay. Oh, it's because Opelka played forever. That's why. God, they're going so slow today. There's 2 matches on after this Raducanu match. All right. 30-40. Raducanu with a chance to break. 30-40. 7-40 Raducanu, but it's a fault. Second serve. As the return goes into the slice of Lee. For now, Raducanu, the backhand of Lee. The backhand of Raducanu is Lee. Slice again. Raducanu backhand into the forehand of Lee. Into the forehand of Raducanu is Lee. Forehand down the line in the net. There's the break for Raducanu. 4-2 in the second. 4-2. Okay. Four-two in the second. As Azarenka gets it out, it's 15-40. Chance for Swiatek to break in the second. All right, 15-40. Swiatek to break in the second. Great lob by Raducanu, 15-love. As Azarenka serves a fault. As the return goes in from Swiatek, too strong. Azarenka hits it wide. This tournament is how you know that Emma was faking injury the last tournament. She was on Cam's stream. I just don't believe she is always injured when she loses, but feeling great after victory. So you came to a Raducanu match stream to say that? That's crazy. 30 love. If I was a fan of another player and not Raducanu, I don't think I'd come into the streams of Raducanu and be like, see? She was faking it all along. It's like, who's your favorite player? Just show up for their streams. Show up for the Eala streams if that's who your favorite is. Show up for the other streams. That's wild. 30-15. Leave Emma alone. 30-15. Do we know why Lynette retired? Apparently she has a knee issue, a knee injury. 30-15 is Raducanu serves. A fault. Second serve. Second serve. As return goes in to the backhand of Lee. As Raducanu forehand goes long. And it's 30-all. Chance for Lee to break back. 30-all. Lee trying to get this break back. As a return goes in, Raducanu forehand in the net. 30-40. 30-40. Swiatek, by the way, breaks in the second. The commentary on the Sinner Alcaraz finale will go down as a classic goosebumps. Hey, thank you. I appreciate that. It was one of the great matches of all time. A pleasure to be a part of it. As that goes out by Lee and we get to deuce. We get to deuce. Raducanu trying to keep this break. Svitolina will be tough for Swiatek if they meet. Yeah, so the winner of Swiatek's match will take on either Alexandrova or Sakkari. And the winner of Raducanu Lee will take on Maya Joint. So that'll be fun if we watch Raducanu versus Joint. I'm sure I'm going to enjoy that one. Raducanu fans are going to hate me. Oh, it's just a theory. That's right, Anthony. You just got to be careful coming in saying, like, you know, Emma has a fake injury, because so many people come in and talk absolute trash all the time. So we're always on high alert when someone comes into a Raducanu stream and says something like out there. So it might be a theory. You might be like, oh, maybe she wasn't really that injured. But we get people coming in here all the time like saying stuff. So Raducanu fans are always like on edge and ready to like defend. So it's got to be careful. Anyways, Lee comes to the net with a volley. Raducanu can't get it. Lee back on serve. 4-3. I can't forget Sinner's 3 championship points, 40 love. Yeah. Yep. All right, 4-3 Raducanu. Why does Osaka get such a bad draw? Emma Navarro and then Pegula possibly? Because she's unseeded. That just happens, When you're unseeded, you don't get to avoid the best players in the world. If you play them. That's just the way it is. All right. As Lee breaks back. And Swiatek with a set and a break, but she hits that in the net, 15-30. I mean, if I lose a match, my injuries hurt worse than when I win. It's true, yeah. Yeah, I feel that. Yeah, when I win, I don't feel as bad. All right, 15-30. I thought Fonseca was playing today. No, he's playing tomorrow. I thought he played today as well. All right, 15-30. Zeko's out by Swiatek, 15-40. Chance for Azarenka to break. Bocco wins the qualies. Nice. All right, 15-40. Swiatek serves. And Azarenka hits it in the net. One save, 30-40. 30-40. There's a bit of forehand from Raducanu into the backhand of Lee. Lee hits it wide, 15-all. 15-all. All right, 15-all. Still break back point for Azarenka as well, 30-40. And she looks to break Swiatek. As a return from Azarenka is good to the backhand of Swiatek. Azarenka backhand. Getting the backhand of Swiatek to the backhand of Azarenka sliced. Swiatek forehand into the forehand of Azarenka. To the forehand of Swiatek. Azarenka down the line. Swiatek's there with the backhand. Azarenka slices it back. As we're backhand from Swiatek to the backhand of Azarenka. Again the backhand of Swiatek. Azarenka can't get that one. We get the deuce. As Lee gets the 30-all. Raducanu. Chance to break again. 30-all. That was a beautiful shot by Swiatek. 30-all. Lee serves again. Serving to the backhand, Raducanu. Return goes short. Lee comes to the net with a slice and hits a wide. Break point for Raducanu. 30-40. Raducanu to get the break and serve for the second. Also, break back point for Azarenka. Lee to serve. She serves a fault. Second serve. As Swiatek hits it out, Azarenka breaks back 2-0. And then Raducanu with a slice forehand. Lee backhand down the line. Raducanu puts up a lob. It goes out. And we get to deuce, but Azarenka breaks back. 2-0. 2-2 in the second. Two all in the second. All right. Raducanu gets to advantage. She tries to take this break again. As Lee with a forehand into the slice of Raducanu. Lee with a forehand cross court. Raducanu with a passing shot winner. And she breaks. 5-3. Raducanu's going to serve for the second. 5-3. All right, 5-3. As Azarenka goes to 40 love. 40 love Azarenka. As the return goes out by Swiatek. Man, Azarenka all of a sudden 3-2. She leads. Now Raducanu serving to take the second. To take us to a third. Can Swiatek win Wimbledon? I mean, look, if she wins the tournament this week, you got to give her a shot. But remember how there was a rumor that Swiatek wasn't even going to play Wimbledon? That was wild. Chad, the internet's wild. All right. 15 love. Raducanu serving for the second. As the return goes in the backhand of Lee. Slice from Raducanu. Into the forehand of Lee. She comes to the net. Raducanu backhand pass. Lee with a volley is wide. And it's 30 love. 30 love. All right, serve again, Raducanu. Into the backhand of Lee. Return goes in the forehand of Raducanu. And Raducanu gets it out. 30-15. Remember when Azarenka would go toe-to-toe with Serena? Oh, yeah. That was not that long ago. $30-15. As Raducanu serves again. Serve to the forehand of Lee. Return the ground. 40-15. Raducanu to take us to a third. 40-15. Azarenka is a legend of tennis. Yeah, she's going to be a Hall of Famer and all that stuff. 100%. All right. Raducanu to take the second set. 40-15. Serve to the forehand of Lee. Return goes back to Raducanu. Lee with a forehand on the stretch. In the net. There we go. We're going three. Raducanu with a smile gets to the third. All right. Raducanu takes the second. Long match, by the way. Nearly 2 hours for 2 sets. On grass is crazy. 15 all. And Swiatek serves again. Now wide the forehand of Azarenka. Return goes short. The backhand of Swiatek. Azarenka slice backhand wide. And it's 30-15. 30-15. $30-15. And Swiatek gets a 40-15. Swiatek serves again. As Azarenka hits in the net, Swiatek does level. All right. All right. Swiatek levels 3-0. Raducanu levels the match and she gets to a third. There's a slice from Azarenka and then the forehand in the net by Swiatek. 15 love. $15 love. $15 love. As Swiatek wins the second point, 15-0. Also, love 15, Raducanu, first game of this final set. 15-0 as Azarenka serves again. Serve is a let. There's a love 30. Chance, 15-30. Chance for Raducanu to break first game of the final set. Good serving Azarenka, 30-15. Time for some cafe what? All right. 30-0. Lee hanging on. 40-30 lead to stay in, or to get in front in the final set. 40-30. As Lee serves in the back of Raducanu. Into the forehand of Lee as Raducanu forehand to the backhand of Lee. Lee hits it wide and we get the deuce. Also Swiatek with a break point, 30-40. As we get a good serve from Azarenka and we get the deuce. As Raducanu hits a return winner, advantage Raducanu to take the early lead in the final set. Brooksby won. Nice. All right. Serve to the forehand of Raducanu. Return goes in the forehand of Lee. Lee puts it away, and we get back to deuce. Swiatek with the backhand. And then eventually, we get a challenge, all right? Swiatek, if this is in, I think it is in. Does Swiatek win the point then, or does it go to a replay? Nope, advantage Swiatek. All right, break point. Lee with an advantage to take the lead in the third set. Advantage Swiatek. As Azarenka serves back to Swiatek. Back into Azarenka down the line. Swiatek forehand on the stretch. Azarenka back in across court. Swiatek gets on the stretch. And it goes off the tape. And Azarenka can't get it. Azarenka very unlucky. She even came to the net and was right there to get the drop off the tape, but very fortunate for Swiatek. And very unlucky for Azarenka. All right. All right, advantage Lee as she tries to take the first game of the final set. All right. All right, we get back to deuce. Still a long first game of the final set. I did a forehand now from Lee to the forehand of Raducanu. Now Lee goes the backhand of Raducanu into the backhand of Lee, off the tape and out. Raducanu gets another break point advantage to Raducanu. Advantage Raducanu. As Lee serves again. Serve out wide the backhand of Raducanu. Return goes into the forehand of Lee. As Raducanu forehand to the backhand of Lee. Into the forehand of Raducanu. Lee with the forehand of the stretch. Goes wide. Raducanu breaks first game of the third. All right, 1-love. All right. 1-0 Raducanu. Is Swiatek 30 love? All right. 40 love Swiatek. So got a 5-3 in the second. It's getting super windy in Bad Homburg, by the way. All right, serving to the backhand of Azarenka. Return goes in the back of Swiatek. Swiatek gets it out. 40-15. As Raducanu 15 love with a good backhand winner. As return goes the backhand of Swiatek. 4 now from Azarenka. Into the forehand of Swiatek as Azarenka forehand in the nets. And it's 5-3 Swiatek. Final set. Sorry, second set. All right. Swiatek 5-3. All right. Five, 3 as Azarenka serves to stay in the match. Backhand down the line, the forehand of Swiatek. Backhand of Azarenka to the back of Swiatek. Azarenka with a slice. And Swiatek backhand in the net. 15 love. Azarenka serves again. $15 love. Raducanu, by the way, 40-15. She tries to go to 2 love in the third. All right, Raducanu, 2 love. She consolidates the break. 30 love Azarenka. Serve to the forehand of Swiatek. Back and Azarenka to the back of Swiatek. It's the forehand of Azarenka. Forehand from Swiatek on the stretch goes wide. 40 love. Did Emma really kiss Carlos? What are you, 12? 40 love. $40 love. Azarenka serves. A fault. Second serve. Here's a double fault. 40-15. Azarenka to make Swiatek serve for the match. Eala is playing tomorrow. We don't know who she's playing yet, but tomorrow. All right, served on a tee. The back of Swiatek. Return goes out, and Azarenka holds. Swiatek's going to serve for this match. As Lee hits a backhand deadline for a winner, and it's 40 love. All right, 5-4. Swiatek serving for the match. All right. As Lee holds, and it's 2-1 Raducanu final set. Okay. And Swiatek is going to come out and serve for this match. All right. Five for Swiatek. She's serving for the match. As the return goes into the forehand of Swiatek. Backhand up from Azarenka to the back of Swiatek. Azarenka slice on the stretch. Goes out. 15 love. $15 love. Swiatek serves again. $15 love. Swiatek serves again. A fault. Second serve. Serve in the backhand of Azarenka. Forehand of Swiatek into the backhand of Azarenka. Swiatek backhand to the backhand of Azarenka. Again, the backhand of Swiatek. Azarenka backhand to the forehand of Swiatek as Azarenka gets down the line. Swiatek backhand. Azarenka gets on the stretch. Backhand Swiatek again goes long, and it's 15-0. 15-0. $15 as Swiatek serves again. A fault. Second serve. Rockies Dodgers are playing tonight. I know. By the way, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. As the return goes back to Swiatek. Swiatek in the net though. 15-30. Chance for Azarenka to break. Stay in this match. 15-30. 15-30. Serve again by Swiatek. $15-30. I don't know why Azarenka's going angry at the umpire. Yeah, Azarenka's not happy. Not sure what's going on, but she's not happy. Raducanu 40-30. Take a 3-1 lead. All right, Swiatek says again 15-30. Serving to the backhand of Azarenka, but she hits it wide. 30-all. 30-all. Three-1 for Raducanu in the final set. All right, 30-all. Swiatek serves the back of Azarenka. Return goes in. The forehand of Swiatek. Azarenka forehand on the stretch. And Swiatek forehand down the line. Azarenka backhand is out. 40-30 match point Swiatek to take the win. 40-30. Get her first win on grass for the season. Hasn't been an easy match. All right, 40-30. Serving to the forehand is good. The return goes in the back of the Swiatek. Passing shot is in the net by Azarenka. Swiatek, 4-4. She gets it done. Very professional handshake. I don't think Azarenka was enjoying Swiatek at that point. Maybe Azarenka was she pissed off because Swiatek was serving too fast, like Azarenka wasn't ready. Is that why Azarenka was a little bit annoyed at the end? Was it because Swiatek was just trying to serve so rapidly that she was like, I'm not ready, hang on, wait. Because that handshake wasn't the warmest handshake. It was definitely on the colder side. But Azarenka had a good week, made it through the qualies, got to the second round. So, again, maybe someone to watch out for at Wimbledon as a tough upset player. Maybe someone who can knock out one of the seeds early in the tournament. But Swiatek wins her first match on grass. Tomorrow she'll take on either Alexandrova or Sakkari. And Alexandrova on a grass court is scary. So if it is Alexandrova, that could be really, really tough. All right, Lee is trying to hold and keep this match close. As a backhand slice from Lee goes long, 30-all. 30-all. A chance for Raducanu for the double break. As Lee hits it out as she tries to come to the net. $30-40. Double break on the cards as Lee serves a fault. Second serve. As return goes out by Lee and Raducanu. 4-1 in the third. 4-1 in the third. All right, we're going to merge the stream. Do you want to keep watching? Jump on over here to the Raducanu match. But we'll watch Swiatek tomorrow. If she does play tomorrow, I'm pretty sure she will. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So, yeah, because Friday quarterfinals on Thursday. So she'll have to play tomorrow. But good win by Swiatek. Solid straight sets. Not the easiest match, but gets through in straights. And she'll take on either Sakkari or Alexandrova. So we'll keep an eye on that result as well.